Now, the Israel Defense Force has this morning released more video of airstrikes it's carried out over Gaza last night. They've also released this video to try and illustrate that they're trying to avoid civilian casualties. The IDF says it shows them firing a warning shot. After showing the residents of the building fleeing, others are then seen climbing onto its roof, causing the pilot to abort the strike. Well, they have also released this video of an airstrike they did carry out. The IDF says the video shows that secondary explosions following the initial strike. Well, joining us now from Jerusalem is Hagai El-Ad, who is the director of B'Tselem, that's the Israeli Information Center for Human Rights in the occupied territories. A very warm welcome to you. What do you make then of these IDF claims that they are doing everything they can to limit civilian casualties?
Israel is illegally targeting the homes of Hamas commanders. These attacks in and of themselves are inconsistent with international humanitarian law. And what makes the situation worse is that in many of these attacks, we see a growing number of civilian casualties. In an attack that happened in Khan Yunis the day before yesterday, 8 people died, 6 of them children. And these numbers are rising all over Gaza.
As we're seeing bloodshed, concern around the world about this situation escalating, and obviously lots of propaganda hard to establish. You know, there's a bit of rhetoric and tit for tat. But the IDF saying that Hamas are using as a tactic civilian areas to operate from, so making it very difficult for them not to strike civilians when defending themselves.
Yeah, IDF versions of what happened with regard to the homes that they proclaimed that they were attacked by the IDF have changed. The initial version of the IDF was simply that these homes were attacked because they are homes of Hamas commanders. And as I said, that is clearly a violation of international humanitarian law. Only afterwards, claims have begun to emerge that these homes are command and control centers of Hamas. These claims have not been validated in any way. And in fact, if the IDF has been willing to release the videos in the cases that they did, then why won't they show the video of the case of the attack against the Kawara house in Khan Yunis that I mentioned? And obviously the Kawara home is not the only home that was attacked. And I repeat, the attacks in and of themselves are illegal. And the fact that we see civilian casualties, many of them children, as a result of that is no coincidence. We have international humanitarian law exactly in order to defend civilians in situations of war. And what we're seeing in Gaza with a Palestinian death toll that has already gone above 70, and again, many of them civilians, many of them children, is totally unacceptable.
I mean, the death toll clearly higher amongst the Palestinians, but Hamas themselves not above reproach. Indeed, the Israelis very concerned about these rockets extending further than ever before, almost as far as Hadera in one case.
There is no question that Hamas rockets being fired at civilian population in Israel are as well illegal. The difference in the situation, and it doesn't change the illegality of the actions of both sides, but the difference is significant, is that in Israel, thanks to Iron Dome and thanks to shelters and so on, so far, thank God, there were no casualties. In Gaza, which is one of the most densely populated areas on the planet, people have no shelters. Okay. And the results of the attacks that we're seeing are the unacceptable death toll that I mentioned before. Okay,
Hagai El-Ad, really good to talk to you from the Israeli Information Center. Really appreciate it. Just before we go, time to bring you the latest pictures from Tel Aviv, the air raids being sounded there, just to give you a sense of the ongoing threat in this region. More after the break.